interview, it's like, we can't hire you, sir, because you don't have experience.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sitting there thinking, wait, so how am I supposed to get experience if no one will hire me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was always annoyed me. It's like, I will catch into it. So I need that experience in order for me to hire, but then I don't have it. So if you do that, create your own side projects or work on something, you can speak to that experience. If they say, hey, you don't have experience, right? So you kind of remove some of the power from them in a sense, some of the argument they're using against you, right?
I'm on 100 moves. I'm in a banner. I miss cover my body. 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 Chanel 2 for 2. My bitch got on Jimmy Choo's. Run up these numbers like we back school. I'm on a 100k move. Just pulled up with a crew. Front outside go zoom. No lacking or you make the news. Chanel 2 for 2.
To that, first of all, quick introduction. We were just talking about VCs and executives and CSR and infiltrating networks, different strategies, different business models. I mean, we're talking about a business podcast, really in the mix already. But before we get into it, you need to tell the people who you are, Rene, what you do, and Rene is. Like you'll see with a lot of these guests, someone that defies the odds, defies status quo. He doesn't fit into this world right now, or he's changing the status quo as we speak. Yeah, that's your intro.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. Glad to be here. As Sam said, my name is Rene. I am a product manager currently at the moment, but also on the side I do numerous things, which I'm pretty sure we'll cover. One of them being running businesses on the side. I'm also interested in obviously technology. That's where my bread and butter is. Financial world as well, through some of the ventures that I've done. That's pretty much about me. But again, we'll probably tease out more as we go through this interview.
Yeah, amazing. That already sounds crazy, wouldn't it? You kind of not make it about this podcast, but about like what I want to know. This is
sure.
It's really interesting. Well, there's two things we were trying to achieve with this podcast series. First thing is shining light on Black-owned businesses and Black business people. Thinking about how to empower, how to build an economy, and how to just raise everyone's status to a competitive level. And the other thing is advising, empowering, and motivating young people that are starting to think about going into business themselves, think about freelance life, think about employment versus the other side of the world. And so it's very much about your hardships almost, and your struggles and your failures being the examples to educate and to make younger people understand what you see is not what you get. This world is so much more dynamic and so much more multifaceted, and it's a learning journey, right?
Absolutely.
So actually tell us, so you said you're in finance, you're in tech, you're in what was the other? So
there's a lot of stuff I'm doing at the moment.
Just
before we kind of dive into that, so it's because when I was asked to do this interview, I was thinking to myself, what do I want to get out of it? All these reasons. Cool. And one of the key things was which was why I kind of agreed to it. It's you know what, it's less about me, and which is what I like. Less about my own kind of achievements, which is because obviously I don't want to wax lyrics about that, but I want to more someone listen to this to kind of take away the tools to go ahead and do what they're trying to achieve, right?
Yeah.
So
why that?
Because I'm happy where I am, but it's more about me inspiring others, right? And actually use my own examples, not to talk about myself, but actually say, hey, perhaps I got this wrong. Think of it maybe in this way. So if I can make less people make the same mistakes I did, great because they will save time and most importantly resources, and that time and resource can go to something actually more useful. So so I just thought it would be kind of good thing kind of segue from. Going back to the question, so tech has been something which I've been business in general has been something I've been interested in. When I was in school, this takes me way back then. We were the generation of the internet. And so one of the things we used to do, statute of limitation is done. We used to sell CDs in school. Some of you may, if you remember CDs, these old school things.
Apparently.
Apparently
they were. Apparently.
So what we did before Spotify, before SoundCloud, all these great technologies we have today in our pockets, there are good old things called CDs. So what we used to do, or Napster, if you still recall that, which was a program. Napster was this website where you can download music,
viruses,
that too, music, viruses, and all everything under the sun. And we used to burn them, and I would sell them in school.
Entrepreneur from day one.
Yeah, so that was kind of the business bug in a sense. And then from there, I thought, okay, cool, this is quite interesting. Obviously, there was some legal stuff, which I won't touch into, but we stopped doing that because just trying to get pocket money for lunch, whatever, right? And then when I got to, I think secondary school, sixth form, I did this course in investing, which was really brilliant. So compete with other schools. So that's how I got into kind of understanding investment, stock market, all that. So that's how I kind of got into business. In tech, it was more about my brother who worked for a tech company. So he'll come home and say, "Hey, do this. Have you seen this? Can you do that?" I was like, "Oh, great." So I started looking into it. I was like, "I want to be in this industry." And obviously because of the whole Napster thing, internet, I was like, this is where I want to work. So, so over the years that kind of metastasized in different ways. So I did a business degree, etc. But every single time I've always wanted to kind of start my own thing, right? So it's always been something whereby...
Okay, just interrupt for a second.
Sure.
Did you fit in school?
I'm going to say yes, hesitantly, because the group I was with, we just played football. So whatever else was happening around us, just didn't care. So I played football at lunchtime and just go straight to class, right? Have lunch or 5 minutes before the bell went. Yeah. So anything else was happening around me, I just didn't care or didn't bother
the
about.
Dynamics of...
Just didn't care.
Didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm asking because I'm starting to think there might be a correlation with an entrepreneurial mindset and not fitting in, and not even fitting in, not caring. It's an introvert journey rather than trying to extrovertly fit in and do what's normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, most of the things we're doing were throughout. I mean, who the heck is thinking about selling CDs? Right? Yeah. It's just because I haven't actually appreciated it. Even looking back now, I was like, I appreciate more. But at the time, I just was like, well, I just need to get extra money.
Yeah, well, there's always this thing about like young people selling sweets, and then it's like a crime in school. And it's like, dude, this guy's literally building a business here, and trying to figure out sales, promotion, marketing, and a community. Like, this is business 101.
100%, and also you get at the ground level where you get instant feedback. So if someone doesn't say you burn a CD and you forget to, I don't know, check the merchandise, right, whether it's fit for purpose, and you sell it to someone, they will complain. You're going to see them in the very next day. It's not a kind of transaction where they go away, they got a receipt. But you see them every day. It's like, hey, that CD you sold me, this song's jumping, whatever the case may be. So it's, to your point, it is like, it is business 101 at a basic level. You actually get the basic at a very young age. Marketing, how can you sell it?
Voice.
100%. So there's all these kind of different things, but also budgeting. So there is that kind of financial aspect of it as well, because, right, so if you buy 10 CDs, right, you need to make sure like each the penny per CD, right, you can actually make a margin of it. So you start thinking about it, okay, I need to make, if I buy for 10p, maybe I need to make 5p off it, or I can put up a margin for 10p extra, so I sell it for 20, or maybe it's 20p, or I can get a margin of 25, whatever the case may be. So you learn about different margins, do the work, and you get instant feedback. If you up the price, will someone else get it?
I mean, margins is something quite interesting. Excuse me for interrupting. In a second, you have to explain margins to us. Certain young people do certain activities to generate income, which sound very cool, which gets you a lot of respect, but you don't think about the margins. And when you start thinking about the margins, the guy at McDonald's in his 4-hour shift is making more income than you are. So what are margins? What are you talking about?
And this is where the finance bit kicks in, because again, you really need to appreciate a bit of finance, because this is it's how you run a business, right? Because most businesses, you need to know your costs. You also need to know your profits. So the margins, okay, if I buy something for 10p, what's the margin I need to put on top of that in order for me to actually make a profit? So do I put a margin to cover the cost of that, as well as additional value?
Yeah.
Or do I just undercut my competition? If I do so, there's also, that's what the margin is. So you need to think in terms of, something costs me 10p, I need to make sure I cover it. So I need to sell it for 20p. That means I break even, meaning what I paid for it is what I get back.
Yeah.
But I need to put a margin on top of it to make sure I actually make a profit. Because without that, I'm not, business is just, it's just not, it won't grow. I won't turn a profit, which makes the whole venture useless. Right. Yeah. So a lot of people, you need to think about that. And this is why I think finance is also really, really key. Again, I'm not saying go get a financial degree.
Yeah.
Just the basics. If something costs me 10p, I need to sell it, you need to make sure you break even, and on top of that, you also make a profit.
Yeah.
And you also learn about competition. Someone else comes in, undercuts you.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Do you also need to source your CDs elsewhere? I kind of use the CD analogy because that's what I like, but it kind of keeps things a little bit simple. Yeah. But that lesson goes into even more complication if you start doing a service. Yeah. If you actually start doing like a software product.
Just for context, the CD is the Spotify 20 years ago. Just so people might not know.
Yeah. So I can't remember what it stood for. Something digital.
Disc. Compact disc.
That's what I said. Yeah, compact disc. That's it. Yeah, so it's before Spotify. Now it's in our pockets, which is great. But it's that kind of thing. So even if we use Spotify, for example, as an example, they work out. They've got free tier. They've also got paid tiers. Those paid tiers, they're worked out in a certain way that actually will make. Well, I don't think, do I turn a profit? I don't know if they turn a profit, but it's worked in a way where it's more. They actually derive value from that. How it's costed.
It's quite interesting, okay, this is super nerdy now, but
we're already there.
So we're already there, yeah. Netflix spends millions and millions of pounds on Netflix productions, with the superstars and amazing plots and amazing action scenes and everything. This is like top-notch quality.
Yeah.
But per production, they make a loss. So they're bleeding money. And it's not about per production it making money. It's about overall getting more memberships that makes them a profitable business. So it's like you are thinking in very different terms here. It's not a logical thing. You would think, people would think, they're losing money. But actually, that's not the business model. That's part of the business model. Yeah. And that's why I think it's really... interesting what you're saying, and this is actually in terms of questions we have questions about your business and then questions about you, and this question fits quite nicely. Give us one piece of advice when it comes to business financials.
Be financial literate. I think that's that. I'm going to keep it as basic as that. What I mean by that is, depending which business you're in, whether it's music, whether it's, you have your own company, whether you run an agency, whatever the case may be, just understand the basics of finance, just what profit is, how to read a balance sheet, how to manage your costs, all that good stuff, how to look for suppliers, how to negotiate, because all that stuff comes within understanding the financial, the basic of business. Yeah. Because I've seen a lot of people where they have a brilliant idea or they have a brilliant product, but actually the financial side is not up to scratch.
It's a mess.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
And you can see, and this is, again, maybe I'm being a bit harsh here, and you kind of see this in not VC, what are called? I think it's a VC. Venture capitalists. Yeah, it is VCs. But if you look at how these VCs go in and find businesses to buy or even take over, it's because someone has done the maths and go, wait a minute, this product it's undersold. They don't understand the value.
Yeah.
Or maybe this marketing has been done, it's spending so much money, but actually can be done with half of the money.
Yeah.
Right. And someone looking at your numbers or your balance sheet, they can actually derive at a quick glance whether actually how well you're running your business.
Yeah.
If they can take it over and actually go, you know what, we can run this even way better. So
Yeah.
we're going to take it over from you because you don't understand those numbers and what you can actually derive from it. So understanding that basic to me is important. Also, like, even if you don't apply it to business, you can apply it to your personal finance.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. And everything else around you. So it's key, definitely.
Totally key. Totally boring at the beginning. No one wants to do it.
Yeah.
I was speaking to these guys today morning on our way here. I was speaking to them about CAPEX and OPEX, and it's like, no, you need to know this. You need to know this. You need to, and I just figured out like half a year ago or something, we might have to cut this out, just in case some haters are watching. But no, like, and when I figured it out, it took me such a long time to understand it. And I still don't understand it because the more you zoom in, the more you learn you don't know,
And that's a good thing. Yeah, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's like, because obviously you don't want to say, oh, I know this, therefore I'm going to stop learning, because it never stops.
Never stops.
Right? You keep going, because even when I finished university, I was like, oh yeah, that's it, I'm done. No, you're not done. You're just done formally sitting down and someone speaking at you, but actually you're learning all the time. When you're reading articles, when you're reading a book, when you're talking to people, or you're networking, you're always picking up different things.
How can we stop being scared of the unknown?
Run towards it. Whatever scare. So I have this thing where
Love that.
if you fear it,
Yeah.
it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's what I was telling myself. If for example, I used to hate presenting in front of people.
Yeah.
It used to mortify me.
Yeah.
And I remember I was working in a manager consultancy as an intern, and one of my managers was like, okay, cool. Every week, every Friday, I'm going to gather a crowd to get you over this fear, and you choose a topic of your choice. You choose whatever you want to talk about. You can talk about football, rugby, whatever, animation, films. Music. I don't care. Just choose whatever topic which is of interest to you to make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring random people, managers, directors, put them in a room, 10 people, stand there, present. And I want you to be coherent, succinct, and also like make sure that you use slides as well, information. So so if you're going to kind of communicate, make sure you communicate this in a way that people can understand visually, right? Because don't just talk at people, show them something. Some people are more visual than actually, verbal. So meaning I need to kind of make sure I have some slides that depict what I'm talking about, right? So that was scary because every Friday I'd be like, oh my gosh, who's coming?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was just people.
Yeah.
Right? It was people, and I was talking about something I chose. I mean, if someone goes to talk about, your passion, it should be easy. And I did that for a year, and I got over it.
Amazing.
So, again,
but that's not normal to have like a support network like that. That's kind of unique, special.
It is, and I was lucky in a sense. But what the lesson I took from that is, okay, if I didn't have that, granted I have, if I didn't have that, you just need to run towards it, because even now, if I'm scared of doing something, it's like, you're doing the right thing, right? So if I'm scared to speak to someone, send out an email, ask for something. It means actually that's the right thing to do for me personally. So, and it's always worked. And one of the trick I have actually to kind of help people, I learned this from, there's a guy on YouTube, I don't want to give him credit. I forgot, some guy in America. He did this whole thing about, it's 100 and something. I'll try to remember it. You can put it in the show notes. But anyway, one of the things he says you should do, which has worked wonderfully for me, anyone here can try it, is go to a coffee shop, right? And ask for 10% off.
Yeah.
It's so counterintuitive, and it sounds stupid because you think to yourself, 10%. If a coffee costs £1, it's 10p off. Like, well, that's not really going to dent me, is it? Right? But just forget about the maths and all that. Just go and ask for that. Just buy a coffee. It doesn't even need to be a coffee. Whatever, random convenience store. Just ask 10%. And your heart will be pumping. You'll be so scared. For some of you, anyway. For me, like, my heart was jumping out of my chest. But after I did it, I was like, why was I so scared? I'm just speaking to another human being. Granted, I'm asking something, but it's like, if you don't ask, you never know.
And you know what? Okay, this is quite off topic, but also a little bit deep. But fear creates a reality, and confidence creates a reality, and both are true.
Yeah. So that's a good one, actually. Yes, both are true. So, but I think depending how you apply, depending which camp you sit in and how you apply it, one can be seen as arrogance if you're not too if the confidence could be perceived as arrogance if you're not too careful or how you use that. On the other side, on the flip side, the fear could drive you, but also it can be seen as weakness as well, to the sense that, this person they're a bit shy, therefore they're not self-confident, or they don't know what they're talking about. Actually, that person may be they're introverted, depending who's perceiving it or how you use it, how you approach it, it can be seen, it can be kind of been viewed from different lenses. But both of them they are correct in their own sense.
I mean, and to that point, just a bit of advice for the young ones. There's no stupid questions. The only stupid question is no question at all. And I ask a lot of stupid questions, but it's information I need to know to understand the picture that I'm creating in my head. And so it's like, therefore, run to your fears. Run to your fears. In that, do you find your path? In that, do you find your strength? So it's really crucial that you're saying that. And when you say that, talking about, for example, tech industry, and being a person of color, and this combination is a relatively new. Our young people don't know about role models that they look up to in that industry. Elon Musk is not that. Who else? What's the Zuckerberg is not that.
Bezos,
Bezos is not that. So but it's definitely an industry that's growing, that's here to stay, that's going to put other industries out of business. So how do you go? You're alone there. You don't have any peers. You don't have any people. Well, you're talking about your brother,
But even then, it's different. The industry is so vast. There's so many things within the industry. Like, he's on one side, I'm on the other side. So he's more technical. I'm somewhat technical, but I'm more of like the product side. So shaping a product, how that kind of ends. But for me, it's like in terms of trying to get people in and how I perceive the whole area, it's just you need to bet yourself in a sense, but also like seek help if needs be, because I think one of the key things, like, there are a lot of people out here who are willing to help you if you can ask, right? So don't be afraid to get a mentor. There's some mentors I speak to on a regular basis trying to propel me forward. But also, like, understand where you are, speak to people around you to kind of get that context. Just don't, I think there's a trap where you think, I'm not good enough. You are good enough if you kind of back yourself and keep learning, because I've seen people in positions whereby I'm thinking to myself, how on earth did you get this job? No offense to them, they got there, right? But whilst I see other people are capable, but they're just like, they haven't pushed themselves, or they haven't opened the right doors, whatever the case may be. So just keep banging on the door, and someone will open eventually. If not, just trying to create your own stuff. One of the key things I learned is like, if you're trying to get in tech, for example, right, and you can't go through the traditional routes, i.e. you're trying to get a job and you can't get it for whatever reasons, create a portfolio of yourself, or something you're interested in, publish it, tweet it, whatever the case may be. And actually the creation of that portfolio, whether it's a website or whether it's an app or whether it's like a design kind of portfolio, whatever it may be, doing that piece of work actually proves more valuable. You can actually do it, and when you actually get into the actual role, eventually you'll be doing the same thing, albeit at a bigger scale.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So,
and on a character level, it shows that you're adaptive.
Exactly.
It shows that you're take it into your own hands. You take destiny into your own hands.
Yes.
And you don't complain because you don't have no time to complain.
Exactly. And that's another thing as well, especially given where we're going economically. One of the key things when I was coming up is like, you apply for places and they were like, which is kind of catch-22. It's like, we can't hire you, sir, because you don't have experience.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sitting there thinking, wait, so how am I supposed to get experience if no one will hire me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was always annoyed me. It's like, the whole catch-22 is that I need that experience in order for me to hire, but then I don't have it. So if you do that, create your own side projects or work on something, you can speak to that experience if they say, hey, you don't have experience. Yeah. Right? So you kind of remove some of the power from them in a sense, some of the argument they're using against you. Yeah. Right. Which is an interesting way to go.
Yeah.
But,
This catch-22 is never a reason to stop. Yeah, figure that one out. Correct. And that's the genius within it. Yeah, the catch-22, figure it out, and then you're off. Yeah. Or kind of like you say, it's really tough to get from 0 to 10 grand. It's not that hard to get from 10 grand to 50 grand as it is from 0, you know? And we all start from 0. And that's why it's like, I love the hustlers, the people that start from 0, you know? I love them. I adore them. I'm like, because I know what it takes, man. And now how internally there's this conflict and, it's nothing to do with the money. Nothing to do with the money. But that's what I like. Name one book that every aspiring business owner should read.
Oh, wow. Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
Top.
There's so many. So many. Okay, so I'll say this, because this has helped me immensely. So, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Okay, we need to put that in the caption as well.
Yeah. So, reason why I say this, there are tons of books out there on habits, on achievement, etc. They're all great stuff. But reason why I say this specifically is because every single industry you're going to go to is going to be run by people, right? Regardless, you're always going to be it's always going to be powered by people. And so this book, what it's taught me is how to actually navigate relationships, right? So just to give you a quick example. So I used to be terrible at remembering people's names.
Yeah.
And then the book says someone's name is the most precious thing to them, right? If you remember someone's name, say, I haven't met you for years, we bumped each other on the train, it's like, oh my God, is that right? You'd be like, whoa,
you remember.
Right. See? So that's just one aspect. There's other examples in there, which we don't have time for, but I think understanding how people work, understanding how to influence people. It's not manipulation per se. It's just been...
Is it psychology?
It's not... Was he a psychologist? I can't remember whether he's a psychologist or not. It's not. I don't think the book itself is psychology, but it's just little things like that where it just, as a person, you improve yourself, but also you improve others.
Yeah.
So that I remember I read it in uni, and that helped me immensely.
Love it.
Whether it's networking, whether it's applying for a job, or even interviews. It's always going to help you throughout.
Yeah.
I still go back to it today.
Yeah. Amazing. Great. Great advice. I'm so surprised. Not surprised. That's a derogatory word. Like your level of business acumen and business savvy. Yeah, I'm like, wow, this guy is different. This guy's different. And even before the cameras start rolling, the conversations we had, and it's like, okay, I want to continue this conversation with you because it's very, very interesting.
Sure.
But it's on a trial and tested level. You've been there, done it, so your understanding is based on theory and experience, right? So can't really if people don't understand what you're saying, they have to level up to understand what you're saying, and which is totally fine. But just know that there's levels, and if people are not talking like Rene, you're probably talking to the wrong people. How do you personally define business success? Is it money, freedom, influence, creative expression, being innovative, something else?
This is such a great question. I've actually thought about this. I think
shout out to Yuri.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, no, so no, good question. I think it's all the above, but I think for me, it's like it's not static. It's always a moving target. So what I mean is, a couple of years ago, what I had in mind, like what I define as success, has evolved over time.
Yeah.
Right. So success was like, okay, let's get into, or business success was like, oh, let's create a company. Okay, that didn't work. All right. Get the learnings from it. And those learnings go, okay, cool. What I'm going to do next and learn from there, right? So how I'm going to level up and go to the next level, right? Get 5 employees. Great. Now I have 5 employees. What do you do then? Right. So it's always, it's always going to, it's always kind of, going to be a moving target. But for me, if I was pressed to just pick one, it'd probably be like the sense of empowerment, just for others, not just for myself, because the idea of just running something for yourself and actually being able to employ people, like it's just, there is something to it, because if you ever been an employee and then you go to the other side, or you're an employer, it's a different, it's two different lenses, how you look at things, how you manage things, because now you got other people to look after, right? Now it's just no longer 9 to 5 or whatever the case would be, punch in, punch out, I'm out. No, now you're sleeping with it. You go in, everywhere you go, you can't switch off because it's dependent on you. So it's that sense, but also just helping others, really, because obviously the more ventures one can create, the more business one can create, the better it's for everyone, because you're employing people at the end of the day, so which is great. And it moves the economy on. Also, inspiration for others as well. Some people want you kind of impart that knowledge to others, etc. So
love that.
That's
answer.
what I'll do.
Love it, and so true. Success is a myth, because you're never going to reach it. Because when you reach it, you have another goal. Yeah, it's a myth. It's a progression steps. But success, it's like...
Yeah, that's what I'll say as well. Like, I've seen some friends back in the day, I was like, I need to be the next person, next, I don't know, Jeff Bezos. I'm like, that's fantastic. But I don't think those people set themselves out to be the next. It happens, right? But if you... And also because you're blinded by that... You don't quite understand the earlier work that went into it, how they got there. You just want to get there. It's like, better. It's
when people have like their critique at a guy like Jeff Bezos, and like, bro, we can't really talk. I mean, this guy, like I don't want to say too much because it becomes political, but this guy literally changed human behavior, right? Societal behavior. And Zuckerberg as well. So what can we say, man?
Hate him or love him. At the end of the day, you got to respect the business acumen. And then like that, you can't, like, that's something measurable. You cannot deny it. Regardless how you feel about him. So exactly, I totally agree with you.
Last question. Was there a time you wanted to quit? How did you deal with the situation or overcome it?
Yeah, plenty of times, because it's the easiest thing to do once you start. Yeah, I think personally, it's just the easier, because you can just fold for me. But I think it depends. So I tend to see quitting as 2 different aspects. So there's a previous business I used to run. It wasn't working. Therefore, I closed it down. So one can say that's quitting, but I say it's not quitting, because obviously one aspect, like, I'm still an entrepreneur. I'm still pursuing ventures, but it's just like something doesn't work. You need to have the foresight to go, all right, this is not working, and I'm not going to plunder any more money into this. So let me actually pivot and do something else. So, and I just want to make sure people understand that, don't confuse quitting as in shutting, because if you still continue other things, great. Especially if you. So that word is such a strong word, and people tend to apply it to everything, which is fine, but just kind of understanding what you mean by it, right? Is it quitting entrepreneurship? Is it quitting what you're currently doing? Or it's just quitting and just staying your 9 to 5? Or what, like, you just need to kind of apply it in the correct context. But in my context, I would just say, definitely, like, entrepreneurship is not the easiest thing. Even trying to learn some of this financial stuff to kind of even go a little bit above. It's boring.
Totally.
Right? It is. Totally. It's just boring. And if you're not in the same community as other people, to kind of help you out, which is one thing I'd say, get yourself a community, by the way. So if you don't have the like-minded people around you, find them. The internet is awash with so many people, so many communities.
You know what? Interesting enough, the person before you said find your community. She said build your tribe. It's very much the same thing.
It's the same. I mean, you can find them, or you can build your own. It's there's no right or wrong, as long as you are in either or. Those, because I think when it comes to quitting the mental aspect, right?
Yeah.
They can pick you up.
Yeah.
Rather than you being by yourself and isolated and just then it will be way, way easier to quit. But if you're amongst them, that tribe or your community or then they're there to help you, work through that. And also just say, hey, this didn't work.
Yeah.
Try this.
Yeah.
Right.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing. Yeah. I think that's like kind of the end of it. Really, really impactful stuff that you said. And guys, if you don't get it, you will get it when you're at a certain level of your journey. Yeah. So, but it's a very interesting, your mind, beautiful thing. It's really like, wow, I'm very impressed. And later on, we're going to talk about business, like our business.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because we need to chat, we need to catch
absolutely.
up, but it's yeah. I'm not sure. Are you on socials? Can people follow you?
I am.
How do we?
I'll put in the show notes. There'll be the show notes. But I can plug my own stuff. But yeah, I'll put some stuff in there. But you can follow me on social for sure.
Plugged,
and one thing I would say as well is the last thing to kind of finish on is like, if you want to do something, start yesterday. Okay, so don't wait.
That's right.
Don't wait for permission. Don't just start.
That's right.
Because even if you don't have money, it's problem solving. And you find a way. Just if you want to start something, just start it like yesterday. If you want to sing, if you want to produce, whatever the case may be, we now have. We're talking about CDs earlier. That was way back then, right? We now have phones. If we had smartphones way back then, imagine the stuff we could have done.
Yeah.
Right. So you. To the listeners, that you're way ahead of the curve compared to where we were. So you have so many advantages just at your disposal. You can just go on the internet and sell things. There's so many things. So start.
Just start.
No complaints. Just start.
Yeah.
And you figure out as you go along.
Yeah. You can only get to B if you get in the car and start it.
Precisely.
Yeah. Wicked, Rene. Thank you so much, man. It's been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to link up everything. And
no doubt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.